Hello, I'm probably riding my bike. My ride a couple of weeks ago with the folks from Velo Orange got me thinking about my border, my beloved Velo Orange Polyvalent, which I no longer have. I hope it's happy riding around Seoul somewhere. But I was looking through some old photos of that bike and luckily found some footage of the trip. So let's step back in time to Geumsan, South Korea, June 2021. And there's one thing that Geumsan is known for, and that is fresh ginseng. The first stop of the trip was the Geumsan Susam Center, the Geumsan Fresh Ginseng Center. And it sells exactly as advertised, rows and rows and rows, boxes and boxes of fresh ginseng. Before I came to Korea, I'd only tried the dried kind of ginseng tea. I didn't know that people even ate it fresh like this. I think a lot of it's sent by the box load to other parts of Korea. But if you head down to Geumsan, you can buy a few bags of your own too. I bought some for myself, which I'm going to cook with a bit later on in this video. But first we need to stop off for some snacks before our ride. And we're stopping off for the insam tigim, fresh ginseng, battered and deep fried. Anyone from Scotland would be proud, although a fair bit healthier than a deep fried Mars bar. Just as delicious in my opinion. You dip it in some, of course, ginseng syrup with a little glass of makgeolli, some rice wine. Of course, this one, flavoured by ginseng. Just half a cup, because I'm heading on the road. A beautiful summer's day in Korea. Little hazy, but warm, lush and green. Perfect temperature for riding. Before the intense humidity of Korean summer. Geumsan's kind of right in the middle of the mainland of South Korea. It's not very touristy, which I like, because it means way fewer cars. And even some bike lanes like this. And plenty of people camping already. Koreans take camping to another level. Sometimes it's like building a whole house. I'm not sure where they store all their wooden furniture and their pots and pans. But it's quite impressive nonetheless. Especially when I rock up just with my tiny tent and a sleeping bag. It's not a Korean summer ride without stopping off at a Cheongja. The perfect place to cool down and take a rest. This was a premium pagoda with a beautiful view, a lovely roof, and even some live TV to watch. It was a little dusty though, so I did my part, helped out and gave it a good sweeping. It's funny looking back at this video, wearing a mask in the middle of the countryside. Looks kind of ridiculous. But back then there was the mandate, which was mandatory to wear them, and there were some people nearby, so I thought I'd better put it on. I certainly don't miss having to wear one every day. Geumsan is the area where my wife's family are from, and the first time I came with them, and they took us to my favourite spot around here, the Chokpyeokgang. A beautiful place by the river with a lovely cliff, a nice camping spot. When I came here with them, I knew that I was going to come back by bike. I like coming here because I never got to meet my wife's grandparents, but coming to the same streets and mountains that they used to be around makes me feel a little bit closer to them. I doubt they went bikepacking though, but I can imagine they were riding bikes around back in those days. Time to set up camp in the wind. I've got my Six Moons Designs tent. I really like how lightly it packs up, but sometimes a freestanding tent would just be easier when the ground's harder to put your pegs in like this ground was. I still made it work though. Once you have the pegs secure, this tent's very easy to put up. It's got two parts with the outer tarp and a mosquito net inside, which is vital when you're camping in the Korean summer with all the mosquitoes, especially next to this river. After setting up the tent, I'm going to be cooking some dinner. I wonder if you can guess what ingredient or even what dish I might make. On the menu this evening is a samgyetang, classic Korean ginseng chicken soup, although maybe mine's not so classic. You can add a lot of kind of Chinese herbal ingredients, but I like to keep mine simple, clean and fresh. You usually cook the whole chicken and stuff it with some gelatinous rice. With my camping stove, I don't think a whole chicken will fit. The recipe's simple. Some chicken legs, water, fresh garlic, loads of garlic, dried Korean prunes, and the star of the show, the fresh ginseng. Ginseng can be quite bitter, but when it's this fresh, it has a lovely sweet flavour to it. Just bring it to the boil, let it go for a while. It's that easy. Once it's cooking, season with plenty of salt. You could tell I didn't have my lightweight packing set up refined yet. I brought this whole bag of salt with me. When everything's cooked, I take some of the ingredients out because I don't want to overcook them. And I'm going to add some gelatinous rice to make a delicious juk, or rice porridge. Again, you can see how prepared I was for this trip, bringing a whole bag of rice with me. At least I had enough. While I'm waiting for the rice to cook, I'll enjoy this glorious ginseng. Similar kind of texture to a parsnip, but with that classic ginseng flavour and a bit of sweetness. Finished off with the porridge, and then I went to bed after the sunset into a food coma. I still remember how ridiculously full I was that night. I think it helped me sleep better though. And what a lovely place to wake up. Packed my tent away and it was time to make my morning coffee. Annoyingly, I forgot to bring my folding dripper, but luckily I had the filters at least. And I made a makeshift filter with some chopsticks and a spoon. Worked surprisingly nicely. When you're camping, you can be a bit less picky, a bit less of a coffee snob. Some delicious beans in this tiny little box from Mesh Coffee. It's quite nice to sell a small amount of beans sometimes if you just want to try a bean before buying a big box or bag. And it's amazing to make coffee in this place all by myself. In the evening before, there were quite a few people enjoying barbecues and picnics, but they all left at sunset and I had the whole place all to myself in the morning. It's funny to look back at this video, it looks so perfect and peaceful, but the reality was I wasn't in a good place mentally. Moving back to Korea about 2 years before didn't go as smoothly as planned, and then COVID came, which made everything worse. The main thing that saved me and got me through this time was my bike. I made a video about it before. It was a wonderful bike, and just having the bike gave me so much freedom to do things like this. It's good to run away sometimes, but Probably I was running away too much rather than confronting and trying to fix the problems I was having. But a trip like this is good to help you reflect and try and work out solutions. Now looking back almost 4 years later, life's 1,000 times better. It's nothing like a good river swim in the morning, especially with a view of a bike like this. This is one of my favourite setups I had of my polyvalent. Pretty dialed, I think. I enjoyed this little step back in time. Made me appreciate how far I've come mentally and how happy I am with my life in Korea nowadays. It's also got me very excited for the upcoming spring and summer, and I've definitely got to get another trip down to Geumsan in again. It's certainly an underrated destination in Korea. I think it's worth checking out if you're visiting. It's only a 2-hour bus from Seoul, and then from the bus station in the town centre to the Chokpyeokgang where I camped overnight. It's only a few hour ride, with only one really big climb. Impressively, my wife even did it on a Brompton, there and back in one day. I hope you've enjoyed my step back in time to this charming little town in this charming country. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. See you later.